Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Wednesday, the 22nd of November. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. Okay, we've started the week. We've obviously been doing a bit in the comments, mixed success. But officially first vid of the week. Well, I say it officially is the first vid of the week because there wasn't anything bonus videos. So first video of the week. Oh, it's going to be hard work on this one, isn't it? First video of the week. All right. So first up, plan of action for Wednesday. I'm all weather bound, no jumps, other than there may be a mention of a side bet opportunity on the jumps. But the all weather is where I'm at. Getting involved in the 5 obvious races at Dundalk that most regular viewers will know I'll probably target. And I got one horse at Wolverhampton. I don't consider Wolverhampton like the other all weather tracks. My strike rate isn't as good on at Wolverhampton, and I find it a trickier or kind of to read. What you generally find as well at Wolverhampton, a lot of the handicaps are class 6 handicaps, and where I do better tends to be class 3, 4 and 5. So if you look at some of those particularly winning days we've had on the all weather, we haven't been playing solely in class 6 handicaps. So class 3, 4, 5 handicaps, slightly prefer that. Dundalk's a bit different in it. It's Dundalk. It's just it's a whole separate little world in Dundalk. But so 5 races Dundalk, 1 race Wolverhampton. It's a 6:00. That's my interest. It's a £14 staking plan, so not quite staking 3/4. 3 bets. Some debate. What I've done is I've done a Canadian for Dundalk, so I've done one in each of the obvious 5 races. I've then done a combination double between the 2 races I prefer the best for value perspective, and then I've basically done an each way Trixie with 2 horses from the combination double with my Wolverhampton one. That's the way I've done it. I could have worked out and done a couple of Yankees, but yeah, I wanted to have a little run at the Dundalk races. We managed to get one up a couple of Wednesdays ago. I think when we got on one up, as in 3 places out of 5 on a Canadian. So we'll give that a whiz. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago as well, we also hit a different one on the Friday night. 2 nice winners. So that is that. No golf. Important to say as well. No golf. Just not keen this week. It's sort of there's a tournament in South Africa and a tournament in Australia, and yeah, I just wasn't keen. I'm not sure even next week's going to be my gig either. But we're sort of coming to the point where there's a bit of a break. There's a couple more tournaments beginning in December where we might have a little look at, but no golf this week at all. Not even single interest on that one. And golf last week we ended up being quite close. We were 1 shot with Victor Perez, 1 shot from framing. I think it was. I think that's right. I think it was 2. I think it was 1. I think it was 1 shot from framing at 90s. So that would have been a nice little return on the golf, but we were 1 shot away. So no good on that. So I've got to go through Saturday's racing, stuff I did in the comments Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Tips to competition league update will be tomorrow. It's a Wednesday night thing. We'll do that on the Wednesday night video. So that way then, and yeah, I think there was a few other things. There's quite a few interesting comments were specifically actually on Tuesday in the comments. There's a few people questioning certain rides of certain horses, either running styles or jockeys trying and stuff like that. There is a lot of it. There is a lot of it. You cannot say in pretty much any race these days is every horse truly trying on its merit, and some of that is, you could argue deliberate. Some of it is people trying different things out and unsuccessfully on horses and things, and trying different running styles, and some horses going from the front and then suddenly you realise, hang on, that started slowly and it's going from the back, and that kind of stuff. It does chop and change quite a bit. But yeah, there was a comment in there around the Irish racing in particular. Certainly these big field jumps ones, that's why I call the big field jumps races on the low quality stuff like there was at Limerick on Tuesday. It can be an Irish lottery. I said in the comments, I think on from my Tuesday comment, I said I thought it was a pretty low price, low value kind of a day. Sure enough, it was pretty much the case. There was quite a few places actually you could have picked up, but there was only one decent price winner. That was in Limerick, 20-1. Denise Sneezy Foster horse on handicap debut. There it is again, handicap debut. Could you have picked it out? 20-1. That was the only decent price winner. And that's why sometimes in these ones you have to look at these races with a different lens. And you can't just look on it and bare form. And so for some people it's incredibly frustrating. But if you work the data and you work it over a long enough period of time, then you can sort of see if you have an angle or not. And it's what's worth trying and what's worth not trying. And yeah, I didn't like Limerick at all for Tuesday. I didn't have a bet at Limerick. I put one in the comments. And I had a couple of others, but nothing. I didn't bet anything at Limerick. All right, so Saturday we were unlucky, I think, for making profit because of Lingfield. So it was a quieter Saturday. So we had place, no good, place, which got the extra place double up there. So Mykonos St John, Udaberry, and then Sassy Redhead. Just if you watch that race back, was in all sorts of trouble in multiple occasions and really was good enough to place, but yes, unfortunate, I think, to not get the frame. So place double on the Yankee and the place extra double in the 2-place singles, so that was all right, but we missed out on the profit. And then this one started off, we had a place and then no good, any of those, and then at Cheltenham, no good. I think I was unfortunate to come down. I think it's definitely one to keep an eye on next time out, but it wasn't doing too bad, and I think it was the fourth last fence it clattered into, and just it lost its confidence then, and it didn't pull up. It got round in the end, but in its own time, and I think prior to that it looked like it had a chance of gaining a little bit of ground, so one to keep an eye on. So I think it was 1950 on 1166 back off memory. So we finished the week up 268 on the back of being up 341 the week before. So really, really lovely fortnight. Yes, there was a couple of losing days. There always is, but we were up just over 600 for 2 weeks. We were started off slow in November, so it's 575 profit for November, but that converts, I think, is about 780 for the year. So we've clearly spiked up a little bit in November, so it's about 17% profit margin for the full 12 month. Well, not full, since the start of January. That's where we're at the moment. But yeah, so just to be clear as well, I know there's always new viewers joining. We had about 40 new subscribers in the last week. Just so everybody's on the same page, because regulars understand this. I don't bet in a conventional way. I am absolutely in a long-term strategy, as you know, a lot of good punters would be, but I am playing in the much bigger end of the market, deliberately playing in the bigger end of the market, looking for value. So I will lose on more days than I win. I'm trying to find those little hidden gems knocking about and then try and string together. Sometimes big price hidden gems, and sometimes just overlooked ones. But when I'm playing at Dundalk, I know a lot of people hate Dundalk, and there'll be a bunch of professional gamblers who won't go anywhere near Dundalk. I'll go near Dundalk, but I'm not touching the 4-5-1 market. I want a little bit higher price, unless it's I'm like literally it's the only one in there. So the aim of the game here is occasionally you're going to hit some winners like we did a couple of weeks ago at Dundalk at great prices, brilliant. But it's trying to string these places together when you're getting 14 runners, most bookies paying 4. I'm looking to try and find myself in the top 4 there with what I'm picking. All right. So Sunday's comments, we had 2, one at Navan and one at Cheltenham, and I think we needed 4th and 6th, and they were 6th and 8th. Both outran market odds. Certainly one from the night before, it got backed in. The one at Cheltenham did. So nothing back off those. Although I would say in the Troytown Royal Thief, it ran a reasonable enough race in terms of it was 8th, and it was a 21 runner race, and we were playing on a 40-1 shot in there. But it jumping, that was the challenge on that horse. I'm not saying I think if it jumped better it would have framed necessarily, but if you watch it, it didn't go greatly from each jump. It was sort of jumping a little bit low at quite a few points, And I think from a rhythm point of view, Simon Torrens never quite got that into rhythm. And then Monday comments, we had two. One jumps, one that was very poor, and we had Kempton, a drifter, SP'd at 50 to 1. I mean, again, if you watch this channel regularly enough, I am aiming to try and bust this myth that shorteners are best, drifters are bad. There are lots of people that give you duff advice that say drifters are not a good thing. It doesn't mean all drifters are good or all drifters are bad, but I absolutely back my horses. If they drift, I'm slightly more worried in Ireland, but if they drift, I think that is a positive thing. Just because the population of punters don't agree with you doesn't mean you are wrong. It means you have found something that they don't see or they don't agree with. And I've been right enough times to make a long-term profit to not worry about stuff like that. So Zoran at Kempton, 33s was the put up price in the comments. 50s drifted SP, and it very, very nearly won. It was only a head in it. It managed to get the favourite on the line from a head, which I thought was going to turn it over, and it was the horse that came down the wide outside that and then got close and got up to win by a head. So beating a head at 50 to 1. Kempton, obviously, as you know, it's one of my faves. And then I put one horse up in Tuesday. There was a great comment from Chancer in there. The horse was yes and yes. Maybe it should be called no and no. No good. Absolutely no good. So we had 5 comment horses, 1 second place at 50 to 1 SP. That was the extent of the comments. All right, that's that. Let's ping into Wednesday. What we got then? This is the main bet. Dundalk 220. We have to go. Well, there's a few familiars in there, but we're going to go with Sunset Nova 14s. We're on the line. We're happy enough with 14s. When it gets down to 10s, wouldn't want to be putting it in. 12s is probably the line. 14s and upwards were good. So 14 Sunset Nova, although watch out 365 and 9 to 1 at the time of making this video. I am going to give it another go. So 255, we backed it last time, try hard. It's got a different jockey on, Oisin McSweeney. He has got a really good record since coming back to Ireland at Dundalk. And we've got 2 of his and 3 Luke. I mean 3. I've got 3 Luke Homer horses in my one bet. Trying to hit one, get one of the right Luke Homer horses. They're either heroes or zeros. Dundalk is hero or zero, and yes, I've decided to put 3 Luke Homer horses in the same bet. Triad 33s. Yeah, I think it probably will run on a little bit better from last time out. I think the jockey bookings are positive, and I think he can get closer. It's a competitive enough race, that one. It's in my combo doubles, but I think 33s is a good price. 440 Roman Palace, another Luke Homer horse. This time it's Chris Hayes on that one, 20 to 1. Ran well last time, so it's just, if you looked at nothing else purely on that the market should have that shorter. So I'm expecting it to get shorter. 515 Dark Street, that's the 3rd Luke Homer horse, and that's Oisin McSweeney as well. 17 to 2. It's a bit short, but yeah, that will do for that race. And then, don't mean to say that flippantly, there's a lot of research gone into these things, and sometimes I don't want to spend hours and hours explaining everything. So I don't mean that'll do. I was happy with the choice. 555 Dynamine 10 to 1. 10p each way Canadian, so that's 520 a bet. Then 325p each way singles on the first 3, and a 50p win on the bottom 1. So that's 720 in total. Sky best, couple of Dundalk races there, 5, and then you want 365 Paddy, next best, joint second best, and then joint 4th best, Betfred, Unibet, Betway. That is bet 1. That's our main bet. Combo double is this. 255 Dundalk Try Hard, Bellick we've added in there, Circles, and then the 440 Roman Palace we've added in Morning Approach. 6 times 25p each way doubles, a 25p each way single on Bellick, and a 50p win single on Morning Approach, which makes that £4 in total. £3 for that, 50p, 50p, £4 you bet. Sky aren't stand out, so 365 or Paddy in the morning, if you're getting best price guaranteed, are better. And then same place terms without best price guaranteed, Sky, Unibet, Betfred, Betway, that is bet 2. And then finishing off, we've taken 255 Dundalk Bellick and 440 Dundalk Morning Approach from the combo doubles and added in my only, although written the price wrong on that. I haven't got a pen handy. Royal Mariner, that's the wrong price. That is 33 to 1. So those two prices are correct. So 33 to 1 Royal Mariner is pretty much across the board. Couple of firms 28s, but 33 is most places. And that's 6 o'clock Wolverhampton. So 25p each way Trixie, so that's each way doubles and a treble. 40p each way single on the last horse of the day. And then it is, again, 365 or Paddy, same place terms, best guaranteed in the morning. And then Sky, Unibet, Betfred, Betway. They are the best 6 bookmakers for my bets on Wednesday. 280 is your bet. So it takes you to £14 in total. Couple of else call-outs, jumpy call-outs. So I've got this, get my note here. The 12.45 Hexham. I haven't picked a horse in it, but from a blind betting perspective, it's a particularly good race. Go past the odds-on favourite and then have a look and see if you can find anything you like. I couldn't find a strong angle enough in that 12.45, so I haven't included anything. But 12.45 Hexham is a good race to pick a horse to put into some multiples. And the other one I'm going to call out is a side bet opportunity, I think, in the 130 Warwick. So the 130 Warwick. I'm looking at Mefenwi's Magic. Currently priced up on average about 150 on 365. Now, when I've looked at that race, 15 runner race, I've looked at it and I call it 6th to 9th. So some of you, for me, familiar. Sometimes in these races I put ranges on things. So I look at it and go, yes, I might price up, and I know relative to from an odds perspective what I would do. So I, write my book, but also I'm looking at from a range point of view. So I use ranges to understand about probability of framing. So looking at place terms and working it out that. So Mefenwi's Magic, 150 to 1 in the outright market. It's got value in 150 to 1 in outright market. I think it should be shorter than that. But where I think the opportunity is, I'm ranging it 6th to 9th. So on Bet365 specifically, if you go and have a look at their outside markets, at the time of doing this video, 6th place was 60 to 1, 7th was 40 to 1, and it goes down like that. So it's hard because sometimes with those sorts of ones, I might, if I've got an access to 365, I might look at that and go look at the range and go 6th to 9th is where I'm ranging it. So maybe I want to back it, maybe like 5th to 8th and do those in a row. Sometimes you might make a decision and you go, just going to go all in on one side. The watch out is if you're doing multiple different place options on that sort of situation, don't inadvertently overstake it. Work out whatever you would normally do on a single opportunity and then divide that stake by the variations of. So don't fall in the trap of placing like 3 or 4 different bets. So therefore you're ending up spending 4 times stake as what you'd normally do. That's not what I'm suggesting. It's like me saying there's a 40 to 1 shot. I wouldn't suddenly go, let's put 4 times the money on here, because really we're paying the side market. So when we're saying it's 60 to 1 6th place, that's 12 to 1 in the side. That's 12 to 1 it's going to place in the side market. So you're not talking about the same returns. I mean, miraculously the thing will go and win, but I'm not backing it to win. I'm backing it to place. So 130 Warwick side bet for those who've got 365. Mefenwi's Magic. Really, I'm saying I think that the sweet spot might be to try the 6th and 7th place markets. That's where I think there's the probability of placing versus pricing is probably right. It's overpriced all the way through the market, but the 6th and 7th placing is where I would probably advise you to play on that one. So that's there if you want it. It's not obviously recorded for stats. Anything else I was going to say to you? Maybe I was going to start to mention something, and if you've been watching for a few weeks, you're going to understand this. If you're new and you're brand new, you won't really understand what I'm saying, and I'm sorry I can't really explain it. But for those of you watching for a while, there was a bit of an incident a while back when there was a race that was being paid 4th place with a couple of bookies and 3 on others, and then some bookies were 3 the night before and then changed it to 4 in the daytime. And we talked about this. It was a situation. It was a comment horse. I think it was a comment horse. Yeah, I think so. Anywho, and yeah, there was a number of people with a specific bookmaker who didn't get paid out for the 4th place because they were placed the bet 3 places the night before. So what I was going to say, now it's helpful, right? Because I was armed with information of knowing that there was a bet placed the night before in the standard term market for 3 places that did get paid out for 4th place. I placed a bet in the standard place market for 3 places and didn't get paid out for 4th, but I know something else that did get paid out. All right, hopefully some of you are with this, and this is not just the most pointless anecdote ever, because the purpose here is trying to help people. So that's helpful information to know that's there. But what you had is a bookmaker that advertised 4th place all day long, right up to the start of the race, and then didn't pay out anybody who'd placed it before, or they did because I know of somebody who got paid out. All right. So in that situation, I know some of you will have contacted that relevant bookmaker to say, I didn't get paid out, what's the crack? Now, there's certain processes and stuff that these companies will do. There's not necessarily a set script, and it will differ from different bookies, right? Lots of things differ from different bookies. But standardly, with something like that, if there's a little air of kind of ambiguity about it, a bookmaker is always going to refer to their default terms and conditions and say to you that this race was, in that case, it was 11 runners, and therefore we don't usually pay out 4th place on 11 runners, and therefore, sorry, this case, we're not paying you out. Okay? Now, most people who have gone to the length of kind of going, I'm querying this, they'll get the response and they'll go, well, computer says no. They'll walk on their merry way. Now, persistence sometimes is very key here, but I have to be careful because persistence is balanced with how much do you want to push something on a principle, how much do you want to push something on an amount of money when you know that the consequence could be they could unceremoniously just restrict your account and boot you out anyway because they think you're a bit of an arse or whatever it might be, right? So you've got to work out this equation for yourself, is because persistence can pay off. But how much do you want to do it? How much is it worth risking it for you? Is the money worth pushing it for? So then, right, so you've done your first thing and they've said no. So then you might go back round it again with a little bit more, and it helps sometimes to be naive, just asking again, and stating some facts that you know were true, like the race you were paying 4th place when the race started. That's what you said. So why didn't you pay out me on that 4th place? Not saying anything about the fact that you know that when you placed the bet, it was only 3 place market. You don't need to mention that fact. Mention the fact that it was 4th place. You were advertising 4th place all day. And the key thing, you were advertising 4th place. It was available on your website and your application. So you can do that. And then let's imagine you did that. And you then might get a response that's probably slightly patronising, giving you a whole bunch of rules and regulations about what's in the T's and C's. And that might either irritate you, put you off, whatever, designed to bamboozle you, frustrate you. If that happens, the next stage is to be a little bit more savvy and come across a little bit more savvy. That's how I might do it if I was in that sort of situation. And I might start suggesting things like, I don't believe you're giving me a direct answer to the questions I'm asking you of why didn't you pay me out when I know somebody else got paid out? Why didn't you pay me out when there's 4 places available all day on your website? You might get a bit serious, and you might suggest that then if they don't want to answer your questions, then you'll happily go to IBAS. For those of you who don't realise, that's like an independent body that looks after issues with payouts and stuff like that. They can be very helpful in some situations. And if you persist and you've got an ambiguity thing here, which isn't like you're wrong, like the horse was 4th. We know the horse was 4th. but there's an air of ambiguity about payouts on this situation, you might find you get a more positive response. Now, you might say, I'm not happy with the response, and you might then push it even further, and you might then decide you're going to go take it to IBAS. Now, I can't specifically say in that scenario what IBAS would say, but if they're willing to give you, let's say, an offering after persistence, then you're absolutely sure if you went to IBAS, you'd get more than what they're offering, if you catch my drift. But then you do have to do the equation. How important is it to you? What's the amount of money involved here? What's the importance of the betting account to you about persisting on these things when you know that you could get it come back at you? And hopefully for some of you, that's made some sense. For others, you've just been bored off for like 2 or 3 minutes, I'm sure. And I've tried to be ambiguous, but yet specific if I can. And I didn't want to talk about anything like that nearer the time. So hopefully that was useful. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, hopefully I won't get... Yeah, anyway, yeah, fine. So let me know if that was useful or not. I mean, I'm sure someone's just going to go, stop waffling on. But, you know, I know most people like the waffle. So, you know, I'm playing to the majority, not the minority here. And bear in mind, right, all I am offering here is my bets for the day. That's £14 worth of bets I'm offering you for Wednesday for the price of a glass of tap water. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. You can take it or leave it, but they are no more than the price of a tap water. That's all you need to hand over here. Right, okay, I'm just going to finish there. That's me. I'll be back. So the outlook for the week. I think it's going to be a quiet week. That's my current outlook. I'm not really seeing huge amounts going into Thursday. It's mainly jumps, and there's some bigger fields over at Thurles, I think, but there'll be minimum or maximum 16 runners with reserves. So some of them are the most likely to go off with 14, 15 runners. So I'll need to find if I've got an angle on those. So I think Thursday's going to be quiet, and I'm not imagining Friday, Saturday's going to be loads busy at the moment. Looking at what's kind of on offer. Friday's all weather is probably where I'll probably put most stake down. So I imagine we could have a situation like last week where Friday is a busier day than Saturday for me, but I won't know until a little bit nearer the time. But some of these jumps fields at the moment in the UK are much smaller fields, and it makes it more challenging. And at the moment, unless I'm really keen, I'm not putting out any more win trickses on for the jumps until I'm happier it's settled down a little bit more. The last the short term strike rate on those for the last sort of 4, 5, 6 weeks hasn't been very good. So I'm sort of just going to park it for a little bit and until I'm a bit happier with some of the consistency of the results on those sorts of things. So yeah, at the moment I'm just going to try and play each way stuff, unless it's like a top quality stuff at the weekend or something I'm a bit happier with. All right, that is me. I am going to finish now. All right, I'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.